Hello and welcome back. My name is Nanti, and today we are doing another SMITE Solo Lane guide for Sun Wukong, the Monkey King. Now, Sun Wukong is my favourite god in the game, 100%. He was the first god, I got the diamond. I absolutely adore his playstyle. I love this tier 2, Ginger Sun Wukong. That's the best. Now, Sun Wukong has had an interesting history. The character first came into the game as an assassin, and then he got changed. You got a rekit, so Sun Wukong transformed into the god you see before you. You got a new kit, and his old kit got transferred to Hunbats, who is the Mayan monkey god. So he was an assassin, he's now a warrior. So when he first got released, he was played in Solo Lane. Then during the kind of warrior meta, he transferred pretty much to a support. He was a very aggressive support. He had huge amounts of damage, lots of CC, and was impossible to kill. So basically he was OP as hell, to put it bluntly. Then the warriors in general got nerfed. They had their base stats removed and all that nonsense. And Sun Wukong got further nerfed. His abilities sort of lost some of their CC, and he lost a lot of his damage. And he was considered pretty much trash for a long time. One of the worst warriors. He couldn't really compete with a lot of the other Solo Lane warriors, such as Osiris or Hercules or Chark even at the time. So he was in a kind of a bad spot. Then he got very minor buffs, honestly, to a couple of his abilities. His 1 and his 3 got minor buffs to them, and the changes to Hog, kind of, now he's pretty good. He's like, yeah, it was very strange. He was trash for a long time, but then the smallest of buffs and the changes to Hog just made him suddenly very desirable over a lot of the other warriors who had been dominant in the Solo Lane, such as Tyr and Hercules at the time. So he's in a pretty good spot right now. He still has some inconsistencies, I'll say, in his kit, and some other warriors still outclass him, such as Osiris and Bellona. But that's more to do with those two gods being probably too strong than Sun Wukong being too weak. So yeah, he's pretty good right now. But enough talk about his past. Let's get into his abilities, because that's what you're here for. Okay, let's start with his passive, Undefeated Body. When Sun Wukong is below 35% health, he gains plus 10% critical chance and plus 10 protections, plus another 1% critical chance and 1 protection for his current level. So when you go below 35% health, you get this kind of aura surrounding you. It's kind of, I don't know how to describe it, it's kind of this yellowish aura that surrounds you. It's pretty obvious to see. And yeah, you gain protections and crit chance. So the protections at max rank are 30, and the critical strike chance is also 30. I'm in two minds about this ability. I like half of it, I don't like the other half. I think gaining protections is super awesome. It kind of allows you to stay in a fight a little bit longer than you would be able to at low health. You can kind of bait people into thinking they can kill you, and then they can't because you've gained those extra protections. So that's nice. I'm not a fan of the crit chance. Sun Wukong doesn't really have any way to gain advantage of this crit chance. Characters like Neja, Artemis, and Hunbats all have built-in critical chance, similar to Sun Wukong. But the thing is, those three gods are all DPS primarily. They're assassins and hunters, so their main job in a team is to do DPS. That isn't Sun Wukong's role. Sun Wukong is a tank mostly. He's a warrior tank. So he can't take advantage of his critical chance like those three gods can, because they can obviously build into crit items such as Deathbringer or Malice. And Sun Wukong can't really do that. If you do that, you're just going to sacrifice your tankiness, and you aren't going to be as useful in team fights. So the critical strike chance, I mean, it can be useful sometimes if you're in at super low health in the early game and you crit luckily with like 12% crit chance or whatever. And yeah, great, but honestly it's not very good. I would honestly prefer to have the critical strike chance removed maybe, and have the threshold raised to 50%, I think that would be nice. Or just have the critical strike chance changed to something else that would be more useful. I don't know what it could be. Maybe you could gain a HP 5 or something similar, just so he has a bit of sustain, make him better in solo lane. That would be quite nice. But overall, I like half of the passive. I don't like the other half. I don't like crit chance. So that's all I say about that. Let's move on to his first ability, the Magic Cudgel. Sun Wukong's Magic Cudgel grows in length and he slams it down, damaging all enemies in front of him. Minions and jungle camps take an extra 25% damage. Okay, so this is the first ability that got buffed. So this used to not have the 25% extra damage on minions and jungle camps. And it was really just a complete ball ache to try and clear the wave. Used to try and hit them with your 1 and hit with your 2, and it still wouldn't like clear the wave until you were like level 9. It was just a nightmare, but yeah, they changed it. So this is the targeter, pretty simple, and this is the ability. Bang. It's a super simple ability. Doesn't do anything except damage. Has no other effects. It's a very kind of old-fashioned smite ability in that regard, but it's really good poke ability. You can aim it up until the last second. So you see, if I face this way and start the ability, if I turn this way, the damage will go that way. So the damage. So you can target this ability up until the last moment. So start there, bang, end there. So it's really hard to miss, and this is kind of why it got its damage nerfed, because it's pretty difficult to miss. Honestly, you can aim it right up until the last second. So if you think about Osiris, he has a similar kind of long range poke, but his can be dodged because he has to target it and then it just stays there. Whereas Sun Wukong can follow a Juken enemy wherever they go, so that's pretty nice. Let's move on. Master's Will. Sun Wukong strikes around him, damaging and slowing all enemies. So again, this is a very kind of basic ability. This is your targeter, that's the thing, just decent damage, has a nice slow, allows you to kind of stick to people pretty well. The cooldown's pretty decent as well. Yeah, pretty much a basic ability. Now, there's some contention amongst Sun Wukong players as to which ability you level first, your 1 or your 2. I am in the 1 crowd. I think that this is your wave clear, and it's the one you want to be leveling first just because the wave clear is so good. Some people prefer to go this one because it gives you more damage. So if you look at the damage, 290 against 240, so you can see the damage increase is quite significant. But honestly, this ability is harder to hit. You know, you can see the range on this. You will get more damage out, I think, with this ability than you will with this. And also clearing the wave with this is just kind of awkward. So I'll show you what I mean by that once these minions spawn. Here we go. So you can see with this, it hits every single minion. It's awesome. With this, you got to kind of like stand like this in between the wave. Now, obviously, this makes you more susceptible to ganking because, obviously, as I said, you're further away from your tower. But as you can see as well, as the minions move, sometimes you can kind of miss them, especially if you're up against someone who can knock back the minions. So if you're up against a Tyr or a Hercules or someone who kind of moves the minions around a lot, then you can often just miss with this, and it's really just annoying. And I don't like it. Well, maybe I'm just, you know, a scrub lord player and I don't know how to clear minion waves properly, but I just don't like this as a first level. After this, it's just so much easier, and it clears the wave a lot faster, you know, because the minions are taking 25% extra damage. It's just such good poke at early levels. Like the damage is fine early. It's a lot of damage early, honestly, you know, because he's got warrior scaling. So I would suggest leveling this up first. I think it's much better. Now, moving on to the third ability, and probably the reason that a lot of people enjoy Sun Wukong, it's the reason why I enjoy Sun Wukong, 72 transformations, a very exciting ability. Sun Wukong transforms into an eagle, tiger, or ox and charges forward. Eagle is the fastest of the 3 forms, immune to slow and root effects. Tiger maws the first enemy runs into, stunning and causing damage. Ox knocks aside all enemies in his path and causes damage. Immune to slow, root, and knock-up effects. Okay, so the target of this is very interesting. You can see it's got 3 forms. If you aim close to you, you have the ox. If you aim in the center, you have the tiger. If you aim far away, you have the bird. So let's start with what the ox does. Damage on the ox form is minimal, so this isn't really your damage ability. But what it does is it'll run through all enemies and knock them out. Bonk, bonk, bonk. So yeah, it's really good for avoiding ganks or just avoiding getting locked in by a team. Say you get say you're in a team fight, you get cut off from your team. You can use this to just barrel through everyone. You know, they're not going to be able to body block you. So yeah. Also worth noting, when laning, if you're up against a tier, you can just ox form straight through his fearless because you are knockback immune. So that's nice. Next we have tiger form. So with this you turn into a tiger. You run decently quickly. It doesn't have the immunity like the other two forms, so you can be stopped quite easily with silences, roots. You can also be slowed, which can be annoying. But this is your damage ability. It does a decent amount of damage. So 380, which is pretty huge. And it also stuns. So 1.4 seconds at max rank. This is the other ability that got buffed. This used to be like 0.4 seconds or something ridiculous at the lowest rank. It was basically just nothing. So yeah, let me show you how it works. So bang, tiger, hit for a massive amount of damage. So this gives you a lot of kill potential in lane. I like to level this up second for this, just for the tiger stun damage, because it's really huge. The stun's really long now at bottom rank, so 1 second. It's like a big stun. Really nice ability. One thing I will say is that you can't turn very quickly when you're in tiger form, so let me show you what I mean. So that's as fast as you can turn. So people can juke you quite easily. They can just turn and walk perpendicular to where you're running and you'll completely miss them. Another thing worth noting is, as I demonstrated, this hits minions, so you will not run through the wave to tiger stun the enemy god. You will hit with the first minion you hit, so if you're looking for a stun, make sure there's no minions in the way before you do. Okay, and the final form, bird form, also known as the, well, it's called eagle form, but it's known as bird form, also called the bird of nope. And that's because when you're in a bad situation, and you're like, oh dear, I'm getting ganked, nope, I'm out, and I'm going to fly away. And you see the distance it covers is huge. I'm not sure the movement increase, because it doesn't actually say in the ability, which is pretty annoying. But I mean, it seems to be something around like 40%, something like that. Just move decently quickly. Except you fly away, you're immune to slow and roots, not knockbacks, so you can be knocked back in this. And you can also be silenced out of it. You can be silenced out of all three of these forms, so that's something you have to be aware of. You can also be crippled out of it and stunned, so if you're looking to rotate over to mid and gank either a Poseidon or a Nox, you have to remember that Poseidon's Whirlpool will cripple you out of your tiger form or whatever form you're in, and Nox's Silence will also take you out of it, so that's something you have to be wary of. Okay, let's move on to his ultimate. Somersault Cloud. Sun Wukong leaps onto his cloud, leaving a decoy behind to fight. While on the cloud, Sun Wukong is invisible and regenerates health. You may leap off before the duration expires, dealing damage. The decoy inherits a percentage of Sun Wukong's current strength and defense. The decoy is killed instantly if hit by a hard cloud control, excluding banishes and knockbacks. If the decoy dies, Sun Wukong is revealed on his cloud. Okay, so this does a decent amount of damage for a ultimate, but what you really want it for is the get out of jail card. So this is why Sun Wukong is considered really good. Bang. CC immunity, you go up into the cloud, you get a little decoy, and after a while, you jump back down. So this decoy will just run after enemy gods and just go for them. He doesn't use any abilities, but he just runs up and smacks them. Now, this ability is, as I said, what makes Sun Wukong so crazy strong. If you're getting ganked, you can just ult, heal up, jump out, fly away as a bird. So Sun Wukong is super hard to gank in lane. Also, he gains CC immunity, so you can avoid a lot of stuns. You can also avoid things like an Ares pull, stuff like that. So he's really hard to lock down. It's a leap as well, so it'll leap over walls. So if you were to ult next to a wall like this, I could leap over to the other side. So in that regard as well, it's crazy escape. Yeah, it's a damn good ability. Another point to make is if you're diving a tower, if there's someone low under tower, you can ult, and your decoy will run towards the tower, and he will tank the tower for you. So then you can jump in on the enemy god and smack him up. And yeah, the decoy will just take all the damage. So Sun Wukong's crazy good at diving towers. It's probably one of the best things about him, honestly. The decoy will just take all the damage. The decoy inherits a percentage of your health, I believe. Let me just check that. The decoy inherits a percentage of someone's current strength and defense. Oh, okay, so yeah, your kind of health and defense. So he's kind of like a mini you. You'll just tank up the tower. You can take a good few shots, honestly, and then you're just free to kind of smack the enemy god. It's amazing. So that's what makes Sun Wukong. I'll show you a little bit of his damage potential on Rabot. He's not an amazing damage dealer. He's more of a kind of frontline-y tank, get in the face of the ADC, mess him up, ult, just to regain health and jump back into the fight. That's kind of his role. So what I will say is I always try to get 2 auto attacks in between every single ability, because his damage progression is 1.75, so you can get 2 auto attacks off pretty quickly. It used to be, Sun Wukong used to be run with chins. Obviously you can't do that really anymore because chins has been nerfed, but yeah. So what I always like to do is I go bang, 1, 2, spin, 1, 2, bang. It's kind of your rotation, I guess you can say. So yeah, that concludes Sun Wukong's abilities. As you can see, he's really fun to play. He has a huge amount of mobility for a warrior, a lot of safety, a decent amount of damage as well. I mean, people rag on Sun Wukong's damage, but you have to remember that he has 3 damaging abilities. His 3, his 2, and his 1 all do damage. I mean, if you compare that to, let's say, a Hercules or Chuck, they have a heal, so obviously they don't have the 3 damaging abilities, so it kind of evens out, honestly. And his 3 is just so versatile. I mean, it's just whatever you need it to be. It can be an initiate, it can be an escape, it can be a team fight disruption. Crazy. So yeah, that concludes Sun Wukong. Now we're going to move on in the next video to God builds. I hope you enjoyed this, and I will see you all next time. Goodbye.